So hi, welcome everyone. Welcome to our workforce series that the Workforce Planning Board of Grand Erie is going to be sharing with you over the next little while. Today with us, we have Josh Reid, who works with Goodminds, Indigenous book publisher and seller located in Brantford on Six Nations land. So welcome, Josh. Thanks so much for coming on to chat with us a little bit today about your role, about your experiences, and everything that's led up to it. So we'll jump right in. You're welcome. Could you please just tell us a bit about your current job and the training you had prior?
Sure. So I guess I'll start with the training. In the spring and summer of 2020, right in the heart of the pandemic, I was involved in the online course offered through Workforce Planning Board of Grand Erie. And I was looking for a new career because why not in the middle of a pandemic? And following that, so I learned a lot about shipping and receiving and warehousing. And following that, I had an opportunity come up with Goodminds that fit with that, along with some of my other interests. I was able to get hired pretty much right after graduating from the course.
Very good. And you were an educator as well in your past life, so that was a connection as well, probably to the book publishing.
Yeah, be around books all day long. So
yes,
very good. To market.
Yes, I understand you do quite a range of jobs really in your role. So, want to just tell us a bit about that?
So primarily the position when I was hired, the position was posted as a shipping and receiving position. The company has grown by nearly double over the last, there's a phone call to prove how busy we are. The company has grown by double over the last 2 years since it's been taken over by current ownership. And so they needed some new people in shipping to be able to get the books out. The company, primarily an online retailer of Indigenous books, but we do have a storefront here in Brantford as well. Of course, at the time during the pandemic, the storefront part was closed, but online had really picked up in sales. So I started out primarily as a shipper, but then because of my background in education and in writing in general, I've been able to dip my hands in a couple of different areas. So I do some translation of resources that we create here in-house in our publishing house, as well as some editing. I also developed, along with the owner, a podcast series shortly after joining the company, where we interview authors who have new books coming out that we'll be carrying, that's available on YouTube. And just kind of a little bit of everything. Wherever I'm able to be helpful. It's a small enough company where really whenever something new comes up, whoever has the skills and the ability and the willingness can jump right in and work on those things.
Very good. That sounds like a very collaborative and stimulating environment for you. So good for you. So can you sort of talk about, obviously you're actually kind of covering it, but the potential within your role from here? It seems like you could pretty much develop your skills within all of the different realm of work that you do right now going forward.
Yeah, and I'll give a shout out to the owner, my boss, Achilles Gentle, who took over ownership of the company just almost 2 years ago now. So about a year before I came on board, has a lot of really great ideas for growth within the company. And so there have been some things that we've talked about that are kind of in the planning phases right now. We do have a publishing wing called Indigenous Education Press that has a handful, probably about a dozen publications that we've done in-house with authors, but we'd like to see that grow. So there's been some talk of me spearheading the growth of that side of the business. because of the growth. Doubling obviously means all kinds of issues around inventory management, what we carry, what we won't carry, what we carry but only have available as special order. So being involved in that kind of reorganization is definitely something that I've been working on with him over the past couple of months. So there are lots of opportunities for growth within the company.
Very good.
And he's other storefronts in other parts of Canada as well. So there's the potential there as well in terms of training for new staff.
Very good. That sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Lots to look forward to. So going back a little bit before your new life and career, is there something that you wish you knew before you're starting your career? I don't know if you want to, relate it to that to now or in the farther past.
I think one of the things that I didn't anticipate coming into this career, but I definitely saw it in my previous career, is that it's really important to understand in this field that I suppose there are certain jobs within the field that can be 9 to 5, but it really is with deadlines and rush orders, the school boards and businesses needing books as soon as possible. It really is a job that goes beyond the 9 to 5. I had that with my previous career as an educator, and I value that here too, where there's the opportunity to work on things outside of office hours that will then help the position help the business once I'm here during office hours.
Yes. So hopefully that balances out for you as well. That when you do, dedicate that time outside of the regular business hours, that you can have some flexibility and balance as well.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely is the type of career where, overtime is available should you need it or want it.
Yes. Good. Let's see, what are we going to talk about here? Is there anything that you wish that you had done differently in your career? Anything that sticks out? There may not be, but
with this new career, not yet. It is, and I feel like I've really enjoyed and benefited from all of the things that I've learned in the last year and a bit. I think it's a change that I probably should have made earlier, just to have that refresher, right? It does. You can get burned out in certain careers, and I think for me that was education, and I perhaps stayed at it a little too long. This has definitely been a good change for me in terms of my work-life balance, my family life, as well as feeling fulfilled by the job.
Good. Yeah, it's definitely more common for people to have more than one career, and you're not the only one who stayed in a particular career longer before making a change. But yeah, there's so much to learn in life, right? And you learn through the different careers we hold as well. So yeah, it's a journey, as they say. Do you feel like you had a mentor along the way that helped you with some of your decisions, or a lucky break? Something.
I think there were, of course, now I'm going to be stuck on the names because it's been a while, but there was definitely one or two of the professors through the Workplace Planning Board course who were really supportive of me and saw the potential for growth within the industry, not necessarily looking for an entry-level position, but using my background from my previous career, as well as what I was learning in the warehousing course, to find a position that would allow me to benefit from both of those. In terms of finding this position specifically, it was just pure dumb luck. We did talk a lot about where to look for positions, and Indeed was one of the places that was talked about quite a bit, and that's where I saw the posting for this particular position. And I was familiar with Goodminds from my time as a teacher, and knew that I had to jump at it. I also remember, again, I wish I could remember the name of the professor. If I had planned ahead, I would have had it written down. Erla
Smith?
Yes, Erla Smith.
Yes.
Erla and I talked quite a bit when the posting first came out, because I had applied for a couple of different positions, and there were positions that had better pay, but didn't allow me the opportunities for growth. And I remember emailing with Erla shortly after the course had finished and saying, I've got these 2 or 3 opportunities. I really, really want to work at Goodminds. The other opportunities pay more or hours are different. What should I do? And she really was supportive, number one, in allowing me to make my own decision, but also in pointing out that feeling fulfilled in the position and opportunities for growth are as important as salary sometimes. And I think she was right. I think I made the right decision.
Very good. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. There's definitely more to our, we spend so much of our times at work, in our jobs, in our careers. So there's definitely that search for that part where it needs to be meaningful and fulfilling is as important as the paycheck you need to survive, of course. But yeah, it really is. I think that's shared by many people. These are some more reflective questions, but if you could go back to high school as early as that, is there some kind of advice you would provide yourself or others? Like, let's say somebody who is in high school right now, is there something that you could give them as advice?
Well, you kind of brought it up a little bit earlier in the interview, the idea that in this day and age, most people don't stay in one career for the whole of their working life. And I think when I was starting into the workforce, when I was getting ready to go away to school, there was still very much that mindset that most people would do that. And so I saw whatever I was choosing coming out of university in terms of a career as being something that I was going to spend 30 to 40 years doing. And I think that made it hard when, in my heart, I knew that it was time for a change, to make that decision, to move forward with it. So I would say to kids these days who are getting ready to go out into the workforce, or anybody who's looking at re-entering the workforce, to not be so concerned with, whatever I choose, and putting that pressure on themselves. Whatever I choose is going to be the thing that I have to do for the next 30 years. Follow your interests. Follow the things that you're passionate about, but don't be afraid to make a change when it's necessary.
Oh, that's good advice. Yeah, it's definitely something any of us will face. One change one way or another, as we know, our era of rapid change all around. So,
yep.
Any big specific obstacles that you feel you've overcome during, your careers, I should say?
Well, I'll stay specific to this particular career. I think I wouldn't say it's an obstacle, but it definitely is a challenge that kind of is ongoing for us. I've been with the company, and that's the growth, right? And it's a good problem to have. How to react to that growth. A lot of the decisions are not in my hands in the position that I'm in, more so the owner and the manager. But determining when we need to hire more staff, even the inventory management side of things, what to carry and what not to carry, how much of a certain product to bring in to anticipate customer demand, how to deal with that customer demand if we haven't reacted fast enough, and we're or sometimes things are out of our hands, especially during COVID. A lot of publishers held back on printing or reprinting books, which has created a lot of backlog for us. And so that ongoing challenge is definitely not an obstacle, but something that's a daily struggle for us, where we're trying to find the right model for the size of the company now versus where we were 2 years ago.
What advice would you provide? This is more of a, big life question. What advice would you provide to young people to make sure that they keep, develop or keep a good work-life balance? Any tips or advice there?
I don't know that I'm the right person to give that advice. I struggle for sure with that on a regular basis. There are certain careers that will take advantage of that. This is not one of those. It's great that my management team and the owner here are really concerned with that work-life balance and are very supportive if there are family things. I have 2 young children, so if I need to take them to a doctor's appointment, or if there's something going on, that flexibility is there. But that's not always going to be the case. So you really do need to be aware of that work-life balance and make sure that your home life, whatever that happens to be, gets equal time and equal support to the job. For me, as a family man, as a husband and a father, I could spend way more time here than I do, and I have to keep that in mind. And just talking with your family as well, if you do have a family, and determining, how much of yourself will you give to the job to make sure that you feel proud of the work that you're doing and that you're effective, but also that you're supporting your family and engaging on that side of things as well.
Makes perfect sense. Just doesn't. That is sometimes up to us to work on determining that life and asking for assistance when we need it as well, of course. Very good. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me today. It was great to meet you, and thanks for sharing it. As hearing from people like yourself who did make a change, who found something fulfilling in our communities in a different career field, is helpful to others. Just hearing somebody talk about it, so appreciate that. Thanks very much, Josh.
No problem.